Welcome to Deep Thought. Actions create resistance. I've talked about this before. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. But no matter what is done, there's always a resistance to it. It's always a resistance to it. Is it slightly off? Wait a minute. Was this off in the last video? Wait a minute. Let me straighten it out. Yeah, we'll just leave it, whatever. Anyway, right? You know what, though? Seriously, man. Actions create resistance. I'm going to use an example. Now, y'all know I don't like talking politics and everything. Y'all know I don't. I mean, I can. In fact, I talked with somebody recently. Me and him could do some collabs on some videos, and this dude's a serious mover in the political world. Makes his money from political strategy. I ain't going to call his name, but he makes his money for providing it. I'm going to tell you what. The Roe v. Wade thing. There's this conflict. Now, I remember when it was first passed, when it first overturned rather. And I remember the, pro-life people. I mean, they were happy. They were jumping up. Yeah, we got it. And then it's talking about some other stuff. Talking some other stuff. Yeah, let's go after this other stuff. They ain't dealt with the first thing yet, because what happened? There's been a massive resistance. I don't care what you do, good or bad. It could be good, somebody gonna resist it. That's just the nature. There's always a push-pull, a back and forth. And sometimes you have to think, if you're gonna do something, what will be the repercussion? Somebody's gonna have an issue with it. Even if you're talking about, hey, let's feed all the children, somebody's gonna have an issue with it. There's always resistance. It's an eternal conflict, really. Now, some people will say good and evil. And some people may even frame, for example, the Roe v. Wade thing, the good and evil thing. Okay. But I would say this. Neither side is good or neither side is evil. It's all relative. And yeah, we can apply it to this situation, but really any situation. And y'all know how I flow with this, so we're just going to flow with it. Think about something. If a fox goes into a hen house, for the fox, that's a good thing. He gets to eat. For the hen, it's a bad thing. For the hen's a bad thing. But if the fox is prevented from going into the hen house, for the hen, it's a good thing. For the fox, it's a bad thing. But then the fox doesn't eat. The fox is just doing what it naturally does. And of course, the hen's thinking is, good. It's all relative. So, and I just wanted to give that. See, the actions, it's hard to say whether any action you take, ultimately you're doing it because you think it's good. You think it's right. But someone else, they might not. And it could be for myriad reasons. And, of course, some people will try to say, well, my religion says this is right. Okay. Someone else's religion says it's wrong. Some other religion might say something totally different. And indeed, I believe that's a major reason for the conflict in the world. Both sides thinking they're right. Somebody might think they have a right to your property. Of course, you don't. Shoot, even during American slavery, or as I prefer to call it, the American period of prisoner of war period, there were people who thought it was right to enslave black people. And of course, there were black people who was like, oh no, this is wrong. Particularly the resistance. Even during slavery, let me just jump into that. There's some people like to think, oh, they were just happy. There were 250 slave rebellions in the United States. And of course, there was a major one in Haiti. Now, let's use the Haitian example. The action was enslaving, these slaves in Haiti. The resistance was ultimately the Haitian Revolution. Now, for the future Haitians, that was good. But for the three major powers that were defeated in the Haitian Revolution, it was bad. England, Spain, and Napoleon's France. But then, let's get into the good and evil thing again. It might have been a good thing for the future of the United States, the Louisiana Purchase. The United States was able to get that land because, well, France had to unload it. So, it's all relative. But that's just the nature of things. It's good. It's an action, then there's a reaction. And I would say in general, when you take actions, as best as possible, try to think about the repercussions. Just in general, and try to limit what could be ultimately a negative impact. I'll use myself for an example. I can make a lot of money. People hit me up, Rom, you should have more subs, more subs. I could have them easily. I can talk shit about women. I mean, trust me, I can go in on women, or I can go metaphysical and stuff. I can find every negative thing about a woman and talk about it. And I wouldn't be lying. Because we all have something negative. Shoot, there's some women, they can go in on every negative thing about a man and it's still good. But then there's resistance to it. And see, I'd say I couldn't take that action. And I refuse to take that action because not only would there be resistance, but it can cause pain. Because like I said, I can go brutal. But if I take that action, there's going to be a reaction. There'll be a resistance to it. And it'd be good for me in the sense of, hey, make more money. I can live even better. But that's not me, because that action will create a resistance. But then the resistance, they create actions, and then I resist that. You see how that works. But it still happens inevitably. On my main channel, what do? My main thing is empowering men, telling them how to get better. There's still a little bit of resistance. There's still some guys. It was actually a troll that said, oh, you messing up these guys' heads. For what? Telling them to become better? I actually don't promote I'll talk about what a player does, but I don't promote being a player. I just say use the skill. You can be a good man, use the skills. Use the skills and focus on one woman. That's the thing. And somebody will say, Ron, you're just flowing. But that's how I do. Anybody familiar with my Deep Thought channel knows it's all about a flow. Let me get this right. Yeah. Of course, I got to keep myself up. So that's the thing. Actions create resistance. It's inevitable. It's a law of nature. For every action, there's a reaction. I use the example of the Roe v. Wade overturn. There are some people actually think, like, there's people with plans actually think that, oh yeah, we can just do this, this, and this. Some people get ridiculous. There's going to be resistance to it. And hopefully it don't lead to some type of major war. And that's just one example that we're all familiar with. But there's always something. You have to think about, okay, what are the consequences for your actions? Because everything you take, it could be small, it could be major. But somebody will always resist. Especially we have a situation, because the other week I talked about the different tribes trying to enforce their power on someone else. And not just in a political sense, but a social sense. What do people expect? They think they can just get away with something, somebody gonna resist. Shoot, I do it. When somebody tries to tell me, like sometimes people, you should do this or do this, my first thing is resist. That's my automatic response. I was like, even if it's something I'm interested in, you tell me to do something, I probably won't do it. Because I automatically resist. It's just in my blood. And everybody does. They might just do it in different ways, ultimately. So, something to think about. You know how I talk on here. Always think about it. All right? So anyway, that's all I have for now, y'all. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.